Look, I get it. Even our grandmothers need a new horror movie from time to time. In Things Heard and Seen, we follow Catherine and Joy. They're a married couple who is deciding to start a new life up in the countryside up north. And when they get there, they realize there might be some dark ghosts within their homes. Things Heard and Seen is based off the classic novel, All Things Cease to Appear. I want to go ahead and admit I have not read this novel, so I cannot confirm how this film holds up as an adaptation. Now, the film stars Amanda Seyfried and James Norton, and I think the both of them do great work here. I think they're very believable. I think they give solid performances, and they do carry the film as you're interested in this movie. Now, I want to say, I think the trailer for this movie is going to be misleading to a lot of audience members, because I think the trailer will paint this film as like the supernatural horror film, or even maybe supernatural thriller. But really, and maybe it's just because I'm a horror connoisseur, this felt more like a supernatural drama. It's a film about a lot of family dynamics that just happen to have ghosts roaming around its halls. And that's okay with me. Once I realized that that was the kind of movie I was watching, I accepted it and I proceeded further. And it was definitely the kind of movie that I was like, you know what? While I'm probably not going to really care for this movie, my grandmother will. My grandmother would love to watch this at 11 p.m. in the afternoon before I get there to ask for $20. This movie has its audiences. I just want to go and clarify, I'm not it. I do like the fact that tonally this movie is harkening back to the more old-fashioned ghost films of like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I felt a lot of the Changeling and Burnt Offerings kind of vibes while watching this movie. I like the portrayal of the supernatural in this film. We've come so accustomed to always thinking the supernatural is this dark and, maleficent presence, and that's not always the case. Most of the time, the person itself has to be evil in order for the entity that want to haunt them to be evil. And I liked all of that stuff. So I liked the fact that the movie treated the ghost and supernatural as something within our world and something that we shouldn't be afraid of. So tonally, while this movie has, chairs rocking with no one in them and lights flickering and even a full-blown seance scene, the tone of how these scenes play out is a lot different than you would expect. And I think that that is going to disappoint some major horror connoisseurs. I was able to appreciate it from afar, even though I didn't feel like the movie was pushing any major boundaries. Because while it felt like a lot of older films, it also felt like a few modern films like What Lies Beneath, and not nearly as captivating as that. There was one reveal that I didn't see coming, and I did like that, but I didn't feel satisfied in the end with that plot point. In fact, I would say the ending itself vastly disappointed me. I know that this is based off a novel, and maybe there's just more meat in the novel, but the ending kind of felt like, are we the turn of the screw or something? Like, is this some metaphorical, No. I'm torn on one thing about this movie because it's shot really well. It looks very modern and I like the look of the movie, but it tries to utilize some old ghost effects, and I appreciated that. But cinematically, I don't felt like the two mixed very well. You know what I mean? This is made with a much glossier presentation, so it just felt like a clash of two different styles. Overall, Things Seen and Heard has some solid performances and a few really cool ideas, but ultimately feels very forgettable and lackluster. While I feel like older audiences might get a lot out of this movie, it just didn't work for me. As a score goes, I'm going to give Things Seen and Heard a 2.5 out of 5. Yep, there you have it. Pretty forgettable Netflix film. I'm going to forget this in a week. It's just going to get lost in the endless quantity of Netflix, not so much quality. But if you did watch this movie, let me know in the comment section below what you think of this film. And until next time, I'm the Slash Movier, and you guys have just been slashed.